You know what, Kobe?
What's that, Barry?
If you believe, you can achieve. I thought you were going to finish it.
I should have.
It totally slipped his mind. What's going on, guys?
You should don't pass it back to me.
I know, I threw you for a loop at this point. What's going on, guys? My name is Barry.
This is Colby.
And this is Who Watches This.
When we screw up the opening line, you know it's not scripted. Theme music.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome to a new month of the Who Watches This podcast.
Absolutely.
And this month, Colby had picked a theme out.
Underground fighting.
Now, Colby, do you want to explain why you chose this theme for this month?
I don't know. I think I was just... So we record these in advance, and we usually do like a theme month, and then we kind of like figure out where it's going to fit in. So I'm not sure when in the timeline of the world this is going to air, but recently Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. And I was all like, we should do movies with like big slap scenes. And then I was like, we'll probably not show this close enough to the Oscars that will like will be irrelevant by that time. Yeah. So then just kind of like I was looking, I was like, we already did ninja movies, and I can't just say like kung fu. I can't just say like kung fu movies because that's too
a broad spectrum,
right? We could do kung fu year. So then I was like, underground fight movies.
And you know, I'm really glad that Kobe picked out the one of like the third of one of the movie of this particular genre of movies. So before we divulge that information,
right,
we got to do our first segment where I explain movies badly, or in the trailer, bad movie trailers. Michael Jai White never backs down, especially a third time. Playing as Case Walker, he is tasked to train his best friend, Brody, I cheat on my wife a lot, James, to fight in the PFC, which sounds like something about urine. But Case has a past that comes back to haunt him. Will that cause a rift between two friends training in Thailand? Let's find out in 2016's Never Back Down 3, No Surrender. You know, before we like really talk or like do the whole plot of the movie, usually like direct to DVD or direct to streaming sequels are kind of like, the budget's like a lot lower. The acting is a lot more terrible. In which this one, it kind of is. More on Brody's part. I think he was an actual fighter.
He was an actual fighter, yeah.
So yeah, so it's mainly from him. Like I feel like Michael Jai White always kind of delivers.
He does. Yeah.
But this movie, yeah, like I was like, it's an hour and 40 minutes. I was like, yo, that's a long movie. That's a pretty long movie. But then it didn't feel long, so that's.
Right? No, it moves along at a pretty good pace. I had seen the first movie.
Oh, yeah.
And then that was so good, I like had to see the sequel. And then I never saw the third one. But like I kept hearing the third was the best. So I was like, well, we're just starting with number 3.
Well, like yeah, because like the first one is very, the first one almost seems like it should have been direct to stream.
Mm-hmm.
Like for these type of movies, let's not expect a huge like grandiose plot.
Right.
It's always just about fighting.
Yeah, it was like MMA Karate Kid.
Yeah, pretty much, right? It's like the Karate Kid for the new age, right?
Yeah.
Because like MMA is so much more prevalent now than any other type of martial arts as far as like money wise.
Right.
right? And then the first one, it had like the kid who I thought was gonna be the next Tom Cruise. He had a very Tom Cruise face. Mm-hmm. The bad guy in that one was the dude from Twilight from the first one.
Yep.
I believe. I don't remember too much because the only reason I watched Twilight was to get,
Because the ladies like Twilight.
Yeah, I totally watched that movie just to get a blowjob. And then, of course, that movie also had Evan Peters and the husband beater, Amber Heard. Mm-hmm. But, like, with Michael Jai White movies, I love them, but I also feel sad for Michael Jai White. Because he has such the classic 90s action star feel.
Right.
And it's like he just came on too late.
Yes. Yes.
Like,
I kept thinking that too. Like I was like, he reminds me of
Wesley Snipes.
well, I was gonna say
Billy Banks.
Yeah.
Was Billy Banks an actor, or did he just do the Tybo?
No, he was an actor. He was in a bunch of martial arty movies in the late 80s. I guess like through the 80s.
Yeah.
And then it was like, then White should have taken up like in the 90s and run through the 90s. But then there was like that gap of
Well, Wesley filled that gap.
right
Because
but not really in the martial arty way.
Well, no, because then he had it's funny enough, he was in the Demolition Man.
Right.
Who I always, for some reason, I always mixed up Wesley Snipes and Billy Blanks in that movie because of the blonde hair.
Yep.
And then he also did Blade in 98,
Right.
99. But then see, though, Michael Jai White also did Spawn late 90s.
Yes.
Right? Late 90s, right? Like 98 probably as well.
Yeah, probably
Right?
around there.
With John Leguizamo as the Violator.
Yep.
And then there was like a huge gap. I think like Spawn was like one of Michael Jai White's only theatrical release movies.
Right.
Which is a shame because like when you see Michael Jai White like in all of these direct to sequel, I mean, hey, like no shame in doing these direct to stream or direct to DVD.
Right.
Sequels,
no, yeah,
'cause he's still getting a check.
Yeah, it pays the bills.
But he's also like kind of cultivated. Like he is a martial artist as far as I know.
Right. Yep.
You know? And so, yeah, like when I watch this movie, I just like, oh man, if he was like just born during that era of like beefy, like
right
muscle action stars,
yeah,
he'd totally have been in the top.
I kept thinking that all the way through this movie too. And I've seen a bunch with him in, and it's always like streaming movies. It's never like a feature film.
And he's always kind of playing the same character, but he's in his pocket.
Right.
He knows like why he gets casted for these movies. Hey, he's just like what's it called? The dude from Undisputed, Steve Atkins from Ninja.
Yes. Yep.
Also, sequel king.
Yep.
They should come out. Him and Steve Atkins should come out with a buddy cop film.
They gotta go through. Somebody has got to go through and collect all the like these amazing B action movie stars and make like, we got the Expendables with like
really expendable,
right? But we could like this would be like the Extinguishable or something. I don't know.
like one of those with the Atlantic Rim type.
Yeah. But I think that would be huge for like that
for them too.
For the like the underground crowd.
And it's funny too because when you think about Expendables, like as much as I love Terry Crews, you really could have put Michael Jai White in Terry Crews's like role,
right? Yeah,
and it would have been just as good. But then I guess it's like can't have too many martial arty type of dudes. We already have Jet Li, and then we have Jason Statham doing the transporter martial arts. I don't know what kind of martial arts he does, but
right. But yeah.
All right, but let's get into this movie. So this movie is a sequel to The Never Back Down 2, where Michael Jai White is also not really the star, but he's
So he's the Mr. Miyagi of that movie.
Yeah, the Mr. Miyagi to the two fighters, right? Or something like
it was
that.
4 fighters, but really the story's about 2 of them.
Yeah. And, you know, and so it's nice. It's a nice continuation of that series.
Right.
But this one is mainly focused on Michael Jai White, who really, like, after watching the second one, I was like, I like to read the reviews, and a lot of the people were like, I really wish the second one really just mainly focused on Michael Jai White. You know, come on, let's be honest, he's the real star of this film.
Right.
For as much of a B actor he is.
Yeah, I mean, if they would have done him and the kid from the first one together, that and then I guess then everybody would be like, oh, it's just like Karate Kid, but you know, yeah, I think that probably would have actually
Been a lot better.
been like movie theater worthy.
Yeah, and I think the only character that comes from the first movie into the second movie is Evan Peters, surprisingly.
Right, and there's 2, like the main kid comes to the second one.
Oh, did it?
And then the kid with the
Evan
that
Peters
films everything.
Yeah, the curly hair.
Yeah.
All right, but
I'm
this,
great with names.
I know I have like this weird retention of actors and them being in certain movies. Like when I hang out with my other friends, they're like, "Hey, who's in that movie?" I was like, "Which one are you talking about?" Like, blah, blah, blah.
Right. And there is now a 4th one that just came out like a year ago with absolutely nobody from any of the movies in it.
What a
It's just to steal the name.
terrible.
Yeah.
Not even gonna bother watching it then. Michael Jai White's not in it. Never mind.
Right.
But this one, it starts off with Michael Jai White. He's fighting in Texas in one of those smaller, like super small regional fighting leagues.
Just the little
just like local
county fair kind of.
Yeah, well, it's not really county. It is like a fighting thing,
Right,
but it's
but-
like the Beaumont Fighting Championship.
Yes, yeah.
But you know, Michael Jai White, he's not really trying. You know, his cornerman's like, come on, we have to make this last at least 2 more rounds. And,
Right, yeah, he's like, you're too good. Nobody's gonna want to fight you if you keep ending the fights so too quickly.
yeah, which it is true. Like as far as like viewership and all that stuff, but the Michael Jai White, he's always been like my own terms.
Yes,
And he pretty much taps the guy out, and then after that, he's like, "You got great kicks, man, but you got to follow him with punches." Which, you know, if you're in the fighting world, you know about Case Walker, and so for him to give you some tips, it's not as like degrading as like some unknown guy.
Right, because apparently, from the second movie, right, he was they say he was like a world-class fighter,
Yeah.
but then he had a run-in with the police where, you know, he had to run in with some racist cops, and he ended up beating them up. But you know, it doesn't matter if you're a racist cop. If you get beat up by a black man, you're that person's going to jail.
Well, I think anyone that beats up cops are gonna go to jail.
Right, yep. But I meant it like they're in like a racist
Yeah,
state.
yeah, like those cops made it way worse.
Yeah.
And they're pretty much trying to frame him anyway. But like Case Walker, he was 42-0 when he was fighting. And so
Right.
his cornerman leaves, and as he's trying to walk out, Brody James, a UFC fighter, comes.
Yep.
And he was like, "Bro, what are you doing here?" And you know, like I guess you could have a sense that they kind of grew up, or like they came up on the fighting game together.
Yeah.
And Brody's like, "Yo, you're way too big. You're way too strong. You're way too good for this place, man. You got to come with me to Thailand. I just joined the PFC."
The PFC. Ow, my bladder burns.
But you know, he's like, "Nah, I don't want to do that. Not really. That's not for me." He later joins Brody in a after party. Brody, what's it called? Case isn't really liking how Brody's acting because he's supposed to be happily married with 2 kids,
Right.
And he's like just chilling with a hell of strippers. But he ends up leaving because he doesn't really want to be a part of it. But as he's trying to leave, he hears that apparently Rampage Jackson put out like a hit on.
Oh no!
Oh, he got mistaken for Rampage.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah. So they tried to some thugs tried to
Set him up.
set up Brody just for a payday. They're like, hey, girl, go mac on, or stripper, go mac on him, and we'll get it on film that he's cheating,
Oh, yeah.
and then we'll try to save you, and then he'll hit us, and we can like sue him, and then Case comes and single punches the guy, the big old bouncer biker guy out,
Yeah.
and then
It pretty much saves Brody from
when the film goes viral.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks it's Rampage Jackson.
There's a lot of racist undertones in this movie, but then again, I was like, you know what, Michael Jai White, he directed it, so he probably put it in there for comedic purposes,
Right? Yeah,
because later
that's right. We didn't even mention that. Yeah. Not only is he the star, but he is the director as well.
Yeah.
and co-writer.
Yeah, because like later on we see Tony Jaa in there, who's if you love martial arts movies, Tony Jaa, Ong Bak, the Protector.
Yep.
He mistakes him for Cuba Gooding Jr. and Snow Dogs. That's why he keeps like
Howling.
Woo, Snow Dogs.
That was I couldn't stop laughing at that. He's like, he thinks I'm Rampage Jackson, doesn't he? And she was like, nope.
Nope, he thinks you're Cuba Gooding Jr. from Snow Dogs. But no, so Brody's able to convince Case to come train him in Thailand for this fight, because Case is like, you're going up against that psycho, you know, who's like 7 foot tall and is pretty much well known that he roids up. Yep.
Yes, because that was the one of the catches with this
Contract.
Like this new UFC, the PFC, it's worldwide, but most of the fights are going to be outside the United States because they're going to be like, you can use steroids because we want our fighters as big and bad as we can get them.
Yeah, which is not a great precedent for people in that
right
in that realm, right? But yeah, so he's like, all right, fine, I'll come, I'll help you out. I'm not doing anything here anyway. And so they go to Thailand. What's it called? Brody puts him up in this kind of Fleabag hotel. He's like, sorry, man, you came last minute, so I'm paying for that out of my own dime. Which I was like, when you see where Brody's staying, is like, I'm pretty sure you had another room.
Yeah, right.
that two-story house can't only have one bedroom.
Yeah, bring home 3 less girls each night, and then Case could have his own room.
Right? And like, I thought I was thinking in my head, I was like, I feel like it would make more sense to have your trainer live with you as well. Anyway, because then they could do road work in the morning and then get to the gym together. But hey, whatever.
And Brody needed it because he was
slacking.
2 hours late to the gym every day.
Yeah, because he was fucking chicks and maybe one chick that used to be a dude.
That was a good joke too.
It would be racist, but then Michael Jai White put a lot of jokes on him as well, so I was like, all right, cool, we're good. Goes both ways. No, but there's a lot of issues when Michael Jai White first comes into the gym, because the trainer, he has this Confederate tattoo, so Michael Jai White's like, oh, this guy might be racist.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a fair amount of tension between them, but he doesn't really do anything about it. He lets him set up his little corner in the gym, where it's pretty much kind of old school. I think Michael Jai White practices Kyokushin karate, which it does a lot of hard strikes, and so the training is pretty rigorous. It's about forming calluses on your bones and all that stuff to deliver the strongest type of punch, right? But one of the undercard fighters there, he wants to test old school. That's what they call Case.
Yeah, right. Because he's like, oh, he's old school martial arts. We're mixed martial arts.
Yeah, he even quotes Bruce Lee. He's like, "Boards don't hit back." Yeah,
right. Yeah, you're punching a board and we're punching a bag.
Yeah, right.
Get with the times, old man.
Yeah, and this other fighter, I think his name is Cage, or something like that.
something like that. Yeah.
He's been kind of roughing up all his little sparring partners, which you're never really supposed to do. Sparring is supposed to just to get clear out the cobwebs, get your body loose and all that stuff.
Right.
If you keep trying to damage.
Yeah,
or injure,
because the coach even says, he's like, you're not supposed to be going over 80%. We want this to last 5 rounds so that you
get your stamina. Like, let's see where your stamina's at. So he's like, all right, but no one can keep up, So he comes over to old school Case, and Case is over there doing what they call, I think, katas, which are like forms. Mm-hmm. Which you're supposed to practice. A lot of people kind of like shit on them sometimes, but it's like, you got to get those moves down. It becomes muscle memory, and then you apply them when necessary. You don't do you're not going to go into a fight and perform a whole kata,
Yeah, right.
But they get into the mix. Michael Jai White dismantles this dude.
Right.
He performs the whole kata on him in specific circumstances, which is great. But then he ends up injuring the fighter, and so now the scumbag promoter Vega is like, you gotta fight for me now, and he's like, nah, I'm alright. But Vega, I'm gonna skip a lot because I noticed we're at 20 minutes right now. What's it called? So Case actually goes up on a date with Misha, spelled Myca.
And she is the Brody's promoter, but also
she works for
marketing
PFC.
for the PFC.
Yeah. So they go on a date, but then the trainer for Brody, who still is pretty aggressive towards Case, he's like, oh, I saw your boy over there talking to that girl, so maybe he's trying to undercut you, trying to be a better fighter than you, whatever.
Right. Yep.
And then during this time, Vega's like slipping Brody like, here's some pills, here's some steroids you can take.
Right. Yeah, because the
Psycho.
supposed to be Brazilian, that guy's a giant.
Yeah, and he's also roiding up.
Yeah.
So, what's it called? Brody, kind of like he's pretty mad at Case, so they end up having a sparring match, and Brody's coming after him.
Right.
And when Case notices, he's like, all right, I'm going to put you down because I feel like you're working through something right now. But he loses his cool.
Like, for realism, this is the best fight of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
technical.
Yeah, like, because there's no like spinning flying kicks. There's no like, it's 2 guys sparring, and then that sparring turns into fighting because one's frustrated, and then one gets hurt because the other person's playing too hard, and then it just becomes like
Case loses his cool because Brody's losing his cool.
Yeah.
But it is the most probably one of the more realistic technical fights because there's striking, there's ground, there's grappling, there's ground game, submission locks.
It's where you can really tell that that both of them know
how to fight.
Actual fight. It's not acting fighting.
Yeah.
It's like they both are real fighters, and they're bringing that into their.
Yeah, but so later on, Case does. He catches Brody almost taking some steroids, which we actually find out that he had switched all his pills with whey protein
and baby aspirin.
Oh no, it's baby aspirin, and then all the syringes are saline. So so he could help protect his friend. Right? Because later on he gets insurance, but then Brody knows it's not going to clear because he has anabolic steroids, and all that stuff. So, but they do actually have a nice little chat afterwards, where they go to dinner. And Case is like, "You got to stop all this. You got to show me you want it. You keep telling me you want it, but you're not showing me." And so they finally have a little nice training montage of Brody getting more fit, and he is getting stronger. Case and the trainer break bread.
Yep. Yeah.
And they're cool, so they're finally able to work with each other because they just want to train better fighters. Case arguably can still be a great fighter. Like he can be a world champ,
Right,
if
right.
he wanted to in this world, right? But
Right, because now he's out of the United States, so the
Yeah.
TV publicity's not gonna have the police track him down.
yeah, well, I mean, he already served his time too, so
Right, but
yeah.
like he still wants to. He wants to be out of the spotlight. But if you're in the U.S. because of that, 'cause
Yeah.
you beat up some cops.
Yeah.
You're gonna make some enemies.
Yeah, but what's it called? Brody ends up training with the guy who does sambo, and he's trying to work on his leg submissions and all that stuff. But he accidentally gets injured, quote accidentally.
Right.
And Casey already had reservations about that. He's like, "Why are you doing that now? The fight's a week out. It's not going to be good. And so he ends up getting injured, and then Case ends up being put on the card.
Right, because the publicist girl was it her that finds the fight of
No, so it's the actual gym that finds it. It gets up on the internet.
right of him beating up the cops.
Yeah, like handcuffed
Yeah.
and all that stuff.
So everybody's like, there's a lot of hype around him, and then they're like, "Hey, you should fight for Vega," and Vega brings him a contract. And to be a smartass, he basically just goes through the contract. It makes it all like in his favor.
Yeah.
because he's like, "There's no way Vega's gonna do this because he's money hungry."
Yeah, he's like,
So
I want $1 million.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do that. It's pretty much he tailored it to how he wants.
Right, because he knew he's going to get turned down.
Yeah.
And initially he does, but then once Brody gets hurt,
Yeah.
Vega's like, "You already signed the contract,
Right.
So
and because
now you're in."
and because what's it called? His video got 20 million views. Misha does say you can't buy publicity like that.
Right.
So the fight's already getting super hyped up, and everyone's kind of getting ready. Case, he gets $500K. He buys a little bit of gear, but then one of the kids that he's training is like, "I just thought you'd never fight for him,
Right.
But hey, for $1 million, I push aside my principles too." And so he's like, like he doesn't want to. He doesn't like. He's a natural born teacher, right? From the second one, he
Right,
likes to
yep.
teach, but he doesn't want people that half-ass it, right? And so for one of his students to say that, he's like, "All right, let's see what's going on." So he calls a Sambo guy, and he actually goes through his phone, and he finds out that the Sambo guy was paid off by Vega to
Yep.
hurt Brody.
Right.
And then during the limbo ride, he's like, "Yeah, we got that has-been out of the way. Now we got Case Walker."
Yeah.
But Case is trying to find a way to screw over Vega. And so while they're doing little photo shoots, he meets Tony Jaa. They take a photo together. We find out that the girl from the gym is like a really hot chick.
Yeah. Right.
Cause in the gym, I was like, "Yo, I'm pretty sure that's her outfit from Chocolate." She's all grimy and all that stuff. What's it called? And so while they're while they're waiting, in the green room, Brody's like, he says something about his wife, and then Case is like, "Oh, his wife. He got so mad last time."
Right.
So
Right. If I can just throw out an insult that's gonna totally throw him off his game, then that's gonna give me the advantage.
yeah, pretty much. So he instigates, and he's all like, "If you're such a great fighter, why did it take you 2 punches to knock out your wife?" Oh, all bad.
Yeah, and that's like on the way to the ring, and
Yeah.
and then what? I can't remember the bad guy's name.
Vega?
No,
Oh, I just call him Psycho. That was like his nickname.
Right. So Psycho starts swinging before they even get to the ring,
Yeah.
and then the fight starts there, and then it's just, Brody then just pretty much just makes sure nobody stops it.
Yeah, he's like, "Yeah, let's screw fucking Vega over."
Yep.
And they have this huge fight, which is like, one of those grandiose type of fights where but they both unglove, and then Michael Jai White gives him the bear claw.
Right. Yep.
And just concentrates on that broken rib that he made and just beats this dude until he like passes out.
Yeah.
And then Vega tries to threaten him. He's like, "Oh, but you don't want people to find out that you set up Brody to get hurt." Right? I think $1 million would be really great for him right now.
Right.
For him and his family.
Yep. And at the same time, his kind of like his not the girl, but his other marketing guy comes. He's like, oh, since the main event didn't happen in the ring, we didn't get to air it, so now we're gonna have to give like refunds to everybody who bought this.
If I was like, see, like the thing about that, right, was if I was Vega, I would have told the cameras to start shooting. Just like start it now.
Right.
Because, man, the crowd was going wild. Tony Jaa was howling twice.
Right, because you basically the cameras follow you from that entrance all the way to the ring. So if that fight started outside the ring,
might as well just start shooting.
Somebody's filming it.
And then you know what? Well, you know what's better about that whole situation? It's no holds barred then. Because then, man,
he got thrown.
Psycho punches him in the dick.
Threw him through 2 different tables. Yep.
And it's bare knuckle boxing. Oh, I think that would have given you more money, man. Like, if you had just started shooting it there, you dummy.
Right. Yeah, because then the next fight, everybody's like, what's going to happen?
Well, no, they were the final card.
No, but like the next pay-per-view event.
Yeah.
They'd be like, oh my god, this is such crazy fighters. They fought outside the ring.
Yeah, when Vega promotes a fight, you never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You see, if he was just a mastermind, the master of a mind, he would have capitalized on that. But he was too busy trying to go the traditional route. Not a very good bad guy.
Yeah.
All right. Before we talk about more of the specifics of the movie, let's do our other segment: high star, low star.
So we got a solid work with an 8 out of 10 by D. Schlater. What a nice surprise. Michael J. White did excellent work. He managed to refrain from unnecessary Hollywood overkill and instead just told a story that flows nicely and rewards the viewer with some spectacular fight scenes. It's actually a bit understated, a rare thing to find these days. I'll give you an example. During the finale of Hard Target 2, all I could do was think, my God, does the shooting never stop? What could I have just been a gritty survivalist martial art? Why couldn't this just be a gritty survivalist martial arts movie? Had to be made into an over-the-top action vehicle, but it didn't look like the production crew had the money or the experience to pull off their ideas. It just ends up looking disappointing. Thankfully, Michael J. White has no illusions about this project. Not everything about this movie was top-notch, but it just seemed to work for me. I got exactly what I needed, and maybe you will too. I hope MJW will be involved in many, many more good projects like this one.
Yeah, see? And then I found like the lowest score I could find because like 1 through 4 were like just one words.
Right.
So I got finally a mediocre, never back down, 5 out of 10. Jax. After 2 tries, it's here. A mediocre, never back down movie. The first bad thing is that they're still using fighters as actors. It's like they are reading a piece of paper in front of them. There's no emotion in the dialogue. It's if they were waiting. It looks like they're waiting for their turn to talk. Very sad. The story is better, and it has some surprises along the way, which are good. I know it's not much of a good thing, but we must remember that the 2 previous movies never got the average score. And this one finally gets a Friday night if you have no other movies to watch score. And trust me, that is a good thing for a Never Back Down title. Enjoy. That's fair.
I think it's better than that.
I know, but like for 5 out of 10, not so bad.
Like you said, I never really thought about it until what was it, the Dragon, the Bruce Lee story?
Yeah.
Came out, and they were originally going to put a martial artist in there.
Yeah.
And then they opted to use the actor that they did, and they said because it's much easier to teach an actor to fight than to teach a fighter to act. And like it never really clicked in my head that like those two things were like different. And when they said that, I was like, that makes so much sense. And all of a sudden, like thinking back to other movies I'd seen, I was like, oh, that yes, I could picture exactly the people that that comment
was made for.
Yeah.
The perfect example of that is the Gordy Berry movie, The Last Dragon. With the Bruce Leroy,
Yes.
the main actor, because the main actor, I believe, was an actual martial arts champion or something, or at least something to that degree. He's also just like a stunt actor,
Right.
but they're like, yeah, let's just use him. And so when you watch him throughout the film, he comes off as like a fortune cookie.
Yep. Very stiff and
Very stiff, dialogue not delivered too well.
Yeah.
Action scenes are great though. But yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I don't actually mind too much when fighters become actors. It works sometimes, but like you're not going to put them in any Christopher Nolan project.
Right. It's a rare that it like that they're already a good fighter, and then cuz I guess those are the ones that like it really takes off. Like Jean-Claude was a fighter, and then he became an actor, and it was like you could tell that he already had the acting bug and was a good fighter, and it just worked.
Well, it didn't help that the Muscles from Brussels was a looker.
Right.
Also, from reports, also a huge sleazebag in his early days. But still, the Muscles from Brussels, he was 80s, 90s gold.
Right. Oh yeah.
Because he was muscular, but he wasn't over the top like Sylvester or Arnold was.
Right, yep.
He was a little bit smoother, so he was like a nice change of pace for people. And, people gave him passes on his like heavy accent.
Right.
like what it was called? What's it called? Universal Soldier, where he was supposed to be from Louisiana. I was like, dude, there's no way that kid's from Louisiana. Even if he was like Creole or something.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh man, yeah, Kobe. Are there any parts of this movie you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, so I had I always kind of like go and like watch other people's reviews and stuff, and I actually found a fight trainer, like a used to be fighter, and now he's like a professional trainer, and he does reviews on movies.
Oh, I've seen those.
To basically critique the fight scenes on realism. Yeah. And he was quite impressed with this. He was like, of course they're going to do a couple flying kicks because, that's pretty, and, it's not nowhere near as effective as, they make it in the movie. But the base fight, is all like real moves, real things. He's like, the only one thing that I've like questioning is that knuckle punch that he does to the rib. He's like, I've never seen a training, like a martial arts training, that actually convinces you to use a knuckle, because you stick one finger out like that, you're quarter of an inch off and you're gonna break your finger.
Yeah. Well, to see that there's a difference, because in Kyokushin karate, you make everything a weapon.
Right. But yeah, like I'm like it impressed me more that like it wasn't just a pretty fight, but it was a technically correct fight as well.
Yeah, because then like I know a lot of people like to discredit like Bruce Lee as an actual fighter. Versus like you go through these TikTok videos, and then people always talk about like Bruce Lee is just an actor, but then a lot of people forget that Bruce Lee was also they do also call him like the godfather of MMA,
right?
Because Bruce Lee is like one of the first people to ever question like his the Chinese martial arts. He's like, it doesn't make sense for me to kick you in the head when there's too much travel time between.
Right.
I'm gonna kick you lower. I'm gonna take out your legs. and this movie had a lot of those. Of course, it had like the soccer kick that like you said, there's like these high flying moves, but that's only just to make the movie a little bit more above reality.
Right. Yep.
And the thing is like there's some of these moves that like I've seen in fights, like the guy said, it's not as effective. But then it's also like not what you expect. So some fighters have actually done some of those moves.
Right. Yeah, and that's it. He actually said exactly that. He's like, sometimes you want to throw your opponent off, so you throw this fancy move. You just don't do it like 3 times in a row because once you do it once, he's gonna know what's coming and he can spot it coming again.
Yeah, like you're gonna pick that up. You want to just do it once. You want him to know that you have that in your pocket.
Right. Yep.
And you're like, maybe I'll use it. You never know. Like there's a super like I don't want to say super famous, but he was a big boxer back in the day. I think his name was like August something, but they called him like the Drunken Master because of his fighting style. It was very loose. It was very unorthodox. Even Mayweather had said like it was probably one of his more tougher fights, just because it's so unpredictable. And
right. Yep.
When you do a lot of those unpredictable things, they can come off great, right? But hey, we're not fighters.
That's true. Yeah.
I'm much more of a lover.
And then a bunch of the reviews totally crapped on this part of the movie, but I thought it was pretty interesting. There was 2 young kids in the movie who once Case beat up the Cobra or Cage or whatever.
Yeah.
The
very aggressive fighter.
The very aggressive fighter. They were like, "Oh man, old school's got moves. We should see if he can train us." And it was kind of a like him training the young kid kind of story, a little side story, and he's making them do like weird training, like walk up and down stairs on their hand, like
I know what that's called. It's called RFT, raw functional training. One of Chris Hemsworth trainers trained him to do that for Thor.
Okay,
his roles in Thor, because it's like a lot of the moves that he implies in his like training is like more for functionality versus just like moving heavy shit.
Right.
So the little bear claw that they do down the stairs, which is like, it's fucking scary. Doing it backward, like doing it down the stairs. But like it activates more of like your stabilizer muscles.
Okay.
Like your little smaller muscles that you don't really train when you're just like lifting weights.
Right. Yeah.
So, and those hops, oh my God, the bunny hops, killer on the thighs.
But I thought that was good. And then there was like one of the kids had this like the girl from Chocolate was in there, and she always came in like all like raggedy looking.
Yeah.
And he every day like he'd walk by and say hi and give her a bottle of water.
Yeah.
And then eventually she came and stuck up for him, and that was the first time they noticed like, oh my God, she's badass. But I thought that was I know it was like a fluff filler,
it's a little padding.
But I enjoyed having that like little sidestep of a story where like every reviewer was like, what the hell did they put that in there for?
Yeah, no, I like that. It's just like a little callback to the second film.
Right, exactly. Yep.
And like it sort of, the what's it called, the Asian dude that was with Case. Oh, I think he's Asian, right? He's just like, oh man, I thought he was just like a little moral compass type of thing. It's like, I thought you had principles, but hey, $1 million is $1 million.
Right.
Yeah. Also, because earlier too, like Brody's like, hey, everybody has a price, and for a second, Michael Jai White was gonna fall into that trap.
Yep.
And he's like, no, I have to remember my principles.
Yep.
That my master taught me.
He did follow up with like, hey, I padded the contract in my favor, so at least if I'm forced to fight, I'm doing it under my own,
his terms,
my own terms.
But then, like, it seems like Case and Vega also had a history prior to this movie.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And they don't really say what it is, but yeah, they seem to have crossed paths in the previous fight scene.
Also, because I think, like, once you're like in that fighting world, I'm pretty sure they would have crossed paths at some point,
right?
Because Vega seems like he's like the Don King of this world, and freaking Case being who he is, he's a very prominent fighter, you know, you would know it wouldn't seem so unplausible that they would have noticed each other.
Right, right.
But, you know, cases are like, nah, Vega's a scumbag.
Right, because you think about that. He was probably the dirty promoter from the before time, and now he has started his own league so that he can use those loopholes a lot more easily because he's the owner, the CEO, the promoter, or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh yeah, but he used to be like trying to sneak a little bit of stuff in, and now he's just blatantly just doing it all the time.
I know, he's providing his fighters with roids.
Right.
Which, I mean, like, yeah, it does give her a better fight, because it's like, you know, that's what they're promoting. Only the biggest, baddest come to the PFC.
Yep.
Which is also, like, you know, I'm not saying Pride does this, but, if I had to watch, like, a fighting thing, I'd much rather watch Pride fighting than UFC. Because I feel like UFC is, like, it's so much more ground game when it comes down to it. And Pride's a lot more standing, striking.
It's one of those things where it's you want your fighting organization to become the biggest and the baddest, but the more public you become, the more the microscope is on you.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that happens where you're like, well, because you see those like background fights or backyard fights and stuff, and you're like, this is so cool, those people should be real fighters, or like, you know, contracted fighters. But then I'm sure that there's a lot of stuff that goes on there that
you don't get
you
to
wouldn't
see
be
it.
able to do in like a UFC where everything is, you know, under contract, under the
this and that
eye of the organization.
Yeah, and you know, I love that. Like, it feels like a lot of the hubs for these like fights are happening in Thailand. I feel like, you know, the more I think about it, it's like is Thailand the fighting capital of the world?
I think it's got a reputation for producing good fighters.
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, like, even like, well, like, I know, like, one of my old coworkers, he was Thai, and I would ask him about like, Muay Thai and all that stuff, and he's like, dude, a lot of those people, they fight to like have a living. Like, you know, you got to get good fast, because, you know, if you're fighting in those little small rings, you're barely getting enough food for yourself. And if you have a family, it's not feeding a family.
Right.
And so, like, for them, like, you know, it's I guess, like, the way he made it seem is it's a part of their culture. Like, you know, if you don't want to do school, you don't want to do office, you know, you want to fight, you know, you can get into that, but you really have to be, like, top of the top.
Right. And I'm sure it's probably more winner takes the pot there, where here it's sign this contract, you're going to make $1 million for fighting, and then, you know,
if
your
you
next contract will be a little bit bigger if you win this one. But
like regardless, like, here, if you're fighting, if you win or lose, you still come out with a decent coin.
Right.
Where I'm feeling like over there, it's like, here's some scraps. You know. Oh man, but like, also, like, one of my favorite parts too is when Michael Jai White kind of goes into that mode when he's fighting Cage, where he's like going through his kata, and he's like, do this. It's probably a little. I don't know what the mind of a fighter is, but I feel like, you know, the more you practice those like forms, that the more you can imply them or apply them to like real life situations. Which is, I think, the main idea behind those forums, you know? So that's why I think those are important. And, like, you know, Michael Jai White, he's just, like, showing, like, the forms are important, but, like, it's important how you apply them in the fights.
Right. Yep. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and I love that the fact that this movie, like, invited Tony Jaa to be in it, even as a cameo, and then the girl from Chocolate, who was, I think, hailed as, like, the female Tony Jaa. So those are cool, like, because at that time, or like even now, they're still, I think, pretty big stars.
Right. And they make the joke about Rampage Jackson, and then he actually makes a little video conference appearance to be like, "Hey, what the hell are you doing, Case? Now the law's all chasing me down because they think I beat up some bouncer at some strip club.
Yeah, he's like, I had to go to jail, and then my baby mama, and then my side piece came there. Rampage Jackson is cool, you know. I think he is probably one of the better fighters that turned actor.
Yeah,
because he was Mr. T.
And then apparently the old coach that hated Case when they first got to Thailand.
Yeah, that
he was actually used to be a coach.
Oh,
like a fighting coach.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then I think it was Pride. He for a little while he was a ringside announcer, like
oh, that's sweet,
like a narrator. But
the ringside announcer. Like Jerry King.
Yeah,
yeah, like an announcer. I think. Yeah. That's cool. And he actually. I thought he was just a real actor. He didn't do too bad.
Right? Yeah.
Nice little paycheck for it. Oh man, yeah. But this movie's awesome. I think how like the movie progressed, it didn't drag. It didn't feel like it dragged. You
right.
know?
Oh, one other like cute part was so the girl promoter. She's interested in Case, and then
it's a beautiful man.
He's like, no, we got to train, so I'm not interested in girls, and then she flirts enough, and he's like, fine, we'll get together, and it doesn't go well, and he gets back to his hotel room, and he's like, looking in the mirror, and he's all like, we're at her house. She said her kid wasn't there. She said, she didn't have a curfew, and then you gave her a hug and left. What the hell is wrong with I was like, oh, that is totally like for somebody who hasn't been on a date for 7 years.
7 years, yeah.
That's totally like you miss all the signs, and
I love it. Yeah, it was cute. That's what that was. It was kind of adorable. Just like Michael Jai White, that's a beautiful man.
Right. And it's nice to see somebody who's like such a badass in the gym. Yeah. Like, and seems like everything else in life so super confident that he's got that like insecurity around something.
Yeah. It is funny too, because like he even talks about like, I think what they call them is like jail birds or whatever. No, like, I don't know, like I guess someone had written to him in prison.
Right.
And he's like, I thought that was gonna go cool, but then the moment you come out of prison, the fantasy's gone.
Right. Yep.
And she didn't talk to me after that. And so for 7 years, he had just been kind of like slumming it. Yeah. Going to like random fight like leagues and fighting, getting a little bit of coin,
living in his RV.
Oh man, yeah. Another funny scene is like, when Case he does some road work to Brody's house, and then Brody's in there with two girls. He's like, I thought we were gonna lift weights, man. He's like, hey, just to let you know that brunette's a guy. And then she like dips out. He's like, I was just joking,
right?
And then Brody's like covering up like his pubic area, his private parts. Well, his dick wasn't out, but he's like, the girl was sitting on top of him. He's like, oh. It's a pretty funny scene. All right, guys. Well, we're coming up to our hour. Thank you guys for joining us. If this is the first time you guys are joining us, thank you. Make sure to check out the rest of our months. We have a bunch of theme months that you could indulge in. Nicolas Cage month, Jean-Claude Van Damme, animatronic toys, video games. It's all there. Check us out. But if this is the first time you guys are joining us, we have our reviews in 4 sections. We have Stream It, DVD It, Blu-ray It, and the Who Watches This Ultimate Box Collection. Colby, where are you at for this one?
Since there's 4 of these, and I still haven't seen the 4th one, I'd 100% go with Ultimate Box Collection. Yeah, the first 2 I think definitely have rewatchability to me. I thought this one was kind of like the other review said, as like the 3rd one was the best of the 3 that I've seen.
Yeah.
This one definitely had rewatchability. I mean, like, it's not you're gonna be like sitting down and like studying the movie or anything, but I mean, it's got enough hype. I always like watching a movie that's like sports related and they have like training montages because I'm like
Montage.
it always like man it always pumps me. It's like oh I'm going to the gym tonight. I'm going to the gym tomorrow. You know, so, hey, a little bit of hype. I enjoyed it. I definitely would watch these again. I'll get the Ultimate Box on this one. Get the 4 set.
Yeah. For me, I'll go Blu-ray for this movie. I think it's, I've seen the second one. I didn't enjoy the second one as much as I enjoyed this one. And then the first one's good. You know, it's almost like a teen action.
Right.
You know,
I actually, I knew the second one went with. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
So I knew the second one went with this one, but I couldn't really remember what the first one was about until I was like, I had to pull up a trailer. And as soon as I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, but it was like because Michael Jai White's not in that one,
Yeah.
and so like it didn't stick in my head as like that was part of the trilogy.
yeah. I think the first one had the guy that got hit by Star-Lord. I think that's the same actor. I'm not 100% sure.
I think so.
Yeah. You know, obviously the first one had like the hugest budget. It was a theatrical release. These other two, pretty minimal on the budget. But you had Michael Jai White.
Right.
You know, it's like any action movie with Steve Atkins. I'm like, Steve Atkins in it. You know, the action's gonna be good.
Right.
Because I think Steve Atkins, he was like a stunt guy first. And then he became like he put his hand in acting in it. Michael Jai White, he's been acting since like the 90s as far as I know. But yes, still both both great actors. This movie is awesome. If you like the action, it's great. The story is good enough where if this came out in the 90s, it would have been in the theaters.
Oh, right. Yes. Yep.
It's a bunch of fun. But yeah, make sure you guys check out our show notes down below. Our Amazon affiliate links are down there. You know, maybe soon we'll put on a buy me a coffee link. That's
Yes.
like another thing, right?
Yep.
Maybe a Patreon. Who knows? Who knows what'll be down there?
We're working on it. Oh, but we also got our socials, our social medias down. Not our social security numbers. Not like either one of us have enough money for you to steal. Not worth the effort. But our social media down there, our Facebook, our Twitter. So definitely follow us. And that way, if you've got any questions or if you got any suggestions, you can hit us up that way.
Oh, if you do, you can steal my debt. That I'll be fine with.
And if you make a suggestion or a good comment, we'll definitely give you a shout out in our episodes.
Yep. Thank you guys for joining us. My name is Barry.
This is Colby.
And this is Who Watches This. If you guys want to check out who does the theme music, it is Lee Rosevere. It's called Arcade Montage. It's on her album Music for Podcast 3, and her Bandcamp is down below.
Thank you.